Hey guys, my name is Carter, and today marks the very first episode of Part-Time Overland Season 1. Now this is a pretty big day for me. Over the past couple months, I made the decision that I wanted to travel full-time. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I have at least 3 months over the summer planned out where I'm going to be traveling full-time. Obviously, Roxy's looking a little bit different from last time you saw her, and the reason is because I've spent the past several months building her out, getting bumpers, sliders, armor, winches, doing a bunch of electrical work, and much more. So I'll be doing a walk around of her very soon, but that's not today's episode. Today, I'm up here at Bunce School Road, and I'm actually going up to check out the T-33 plane crash that's up at the top. The main goals for today are test everything mechanically, and even more importantly, test out Gaia GPS. I've been messing around with Gaia for the past couple weeks. There's a lot of amazing features, and I've used it a little bit, but I want to really test it officially, do a whole track today, mark out some waypoints for you guys, and all of that information will be available on my Patreon, which I will link below. Mechanically speaking, obviously there's bumpers, sliders, winches. I've been able to test that out a little bit, but I want to further give that the go around. Yesterday I also replaced my transmission filter and refilled the transmission, so there's a couple new things in the works. I want to make sure everything is working 100% and as smoothly as possible before I hit the road, and I think that's it. That's today's mission. I'll shut up now, let's get on the trail and have some fun. So, fun fact, I actually did this section in a Subaru once. Coming down, I certainly don't think it would make it going up, but it definitely scraped a couple times. I think Roxy's gonna do a little bit better. Okay, so this is kind of interesting, guys. We've just stopped the 4Runner for a sec. This used to be a trail. It's marked on the map as the North Fork of the 203, which is the trail I'm on. And you can clearly see it did used to be a trail. Looks kind of like a bit of a washout, but that is certainly closed off both there and even more so there. So onward we go. I think the plane wreck is in that direction. Line. I think I'm gonna do some diff scraping. Alright, let's reset. Well guys, here's the obstacle we just made it through. As you can see, I took a bit of a harder line right kind of in the middle here and didn't go as well as I wanted to. I did scrape a little bit. You probably heard, fortunately, it was just my gas tank skid. But something like this, there's easier lines over there. I was just messing around, and at a certain point, you know, trading off risk for reward, and especially when there's a situation where there is a bypass, it's just not worth it. So I did pick a better line, made it through totally fine, but That was silly. I shouldn't have taken that line. Anyway, it's all good. Let's keep going. Well guys, we've made it to the trailhead, and it is just awesome up here. There were two sort of ATV, what's the name? Razors. There are two razors up here, friendly folks from out of state, I don't know where. So they just took off, and it's me all alone. Roxy's just sitting over there. The trailhead little info thing is right over there, which we'll go check out in a sec. But we're gonna do the hike. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and we're finally here, and it's the perfect day to do it. So let's go check that out. I'll tell you a little bit of background on what this is, and we'll go see the plane. Okay, so this is the start of the trailhead. There's that little marker over there, and this is the signage. Now this has a little bit of info on it. It tells who these people were, a bit about the plane. From what I understand about this site, and I've watched a little video on it, I forget where, maybe I can find it and link it down for you guys, but apparently these guys were flying, I think on a training mission. They flew off course for some reason, and I think that day it was very foggy, so the visibility was super poor. I'm pretty sure they were trying to make it down to somewhere in like Colorado Springs or somewhere in that area. Headed off course, didn't have visual line of sight, so obviously they couldn't see the mountains, and ended up piling in here. I'm guessing, this says the cruising speed was at 450 miles an hour, so I'm gonna say they were going no less than 300. So they both died. We're gonna be very respectful of the site, and I have no idea how they even found these guys. I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere. This is kind of crazy that a trail leads right up to it. So that's the story. Let's go check it out and see what we can find. Okay, so we're only probably a couple hundred yards into the trail, and this is our first find. Now, I'm going to say this is plain because it's aluminum, and look at all those rivets. So I guess the rest of the plane must be close by. Guys, this is insane. This is just one of those things, like I've seen pictures of this, I've seen videos of people exploring this, and you just don't get the scale of it or the scope until you see it in person. I mean, for one, it's pretty big. You know, it's a relatively small trainer, but in person it's just, it's right there in your face. Do you see all this? This is aluminum. This is like 1/8" aluminum. The amount of force that must have just, that is insane. And the other thing you don't see, I'll try to show you around. So this is just one piece. That other piece that I showed you, that first piece, was probably 300 feet that way. And then the rest of this, I mean, there's trails going down, the engine's down there. There's parts over there that I can see from here, maybe 100 feet. This thing just, crazy. It's ironic that it's in such a beautiful spot too. Here is the engine. That's the engine there. That up there must be 80 feet up. This is the tail section we were just at. Here's the heat shielding, which you can obviously was doing its work. This may have been, I don't know, the throttle cable? That's what I'm guessing. Maybe something else. So, I stand corrected, and I was completely wrong. This is the engine. The other part we saw up there must have been the whole, basically through the body of the plane, the exhaust and outlet. I don't know if it has a proper name for it. So this is the engine. This is, I'm gonna say, a 1/4 mile down from the top of the wreck, which is crazy. Crazy. And this thing must weigh like 1,000 pounds. I mean, it's just solid steel. All the blades up front, they're chewed up. I don't know if this was original paint. There's all these inlets here. And it's all by itself. I mean, there's nothing else down here. The other interesting part is, you see this tree? That is dead. And that looks burnt to me. So I'm wondering if the engine was so hot, probably wasn't on fire, although it could have been. It was sitting right next to that tree and might have burned the bottom of it to the point where it ended up dying off. Huh. It still amazes me that this plane wreck is just in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I found this super cool little kind of opening down here. There's all these aspen and super green grass. I don't think it would have been big enough for a plane to land in. Probably a helicopter, but plane crash is just a couple thousand feet that way. And here's this beautiful little spot surrounded by aspens. Found some moose tracks or elk tracks. Pretty awesome. Okay, this is actually pretty incredible. Almost 80 years later, and the wheel bearings still turn. Not well, but they're not even rusted together. The safety cable's still on there. Well guys, we're back from the hike and it's still gorgeous out. I think it's about 5, maybe a little after. Just before 5. So we still got plenty of sunlight. I'm gonna head down the trail, maybe do a little more exploring on some nearby trails, and we'll call it a day. Lovely sounds. Okay, well that is a wrap for today. Mission accomplished, made it to the plane crash, explored, and I would highly recommend if anyone is in Colorado, in the Boulder area, come check this trail out. It's awesome. There's a whole network of really cool off-road trails too. Middle St. Vrain is right here, which is a pretty technical, gnarly off-road trail. I think this one today was honestly pretty technical. If you're coming up here, I would definitely recommend a nice lift and 33s. You could probably get away with 31s, but I would say solid 33s. You don't need a locker. I had one and I certainly used it just because it's a comfort and I like to crawl things as much as I can and not break things. So I definitely used it. If you're interested in coming on this trail, definitely go check out my Patreon. Like I said, all of the tracks are going to be on there. And actually, for the tracks on Patreon, normally starting with tier 2 only has the full tracks, tier 1 just has the waypoints. For this very first trail, I am going to put all the tracks and waypoints for all the tiers. So whether it's tier 1 through 4, 5, I forget all the tiers I had set up. If you're interested in supporting the channel, I would really appreciate that, and you'll have access to all the waypoints. I marked out the location of the plane, I marked out waypoints along for camping sites and turnoffs. Took some pictures and recorded the whole track. So I think that's pretty much it. Roxy handled the whole thing excellently. Going up, I don't think the transmission temp topped like 190. It was sitting around 180. Coming back down, it was even lower. I didn't see it even go above 150. And yeah, she just killed it. That pretty much wraps it up, guys. Stay tuned for a week from today. I think I'm going to do an upload schedule of every Monday, but I might change that as things progress. So, got some adventures planned. We are leaving either this Thursday or Friday. So, got a couple days to finish the last things, and then we're bouncing out of town. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, and if you want to follow the adventure, a lot more content is going to be coming out soon because I am going to be traveling full-time for the next several months at least. So hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and I'll catch you in the next one.